Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about some of the most recent news in the NBA today. As today was announced by the Bleacher Report and The Athletic that today, or around the last couple of days, the Dallas Mavericks and the Atlanta Hawks have discussed about a trade that would send John Collins to the Dallas Mavericks and would be centered around Davis Bertans, John Collins, and a first-round pick swap between the two, which would mean Dallas would get the 15th overall pick, and in return, the Hawks would get the 10th overall pick. So let's get into what the trade would look like for both teams. So, it hasn't been released to what the full trade would be if this trade would happen, but what it seems like people are making it to be is that it would be Davis Bertans and the 10th overall pick to Atlanta for John Collins and the 15th overall pick. And in my opinion, I don't think Atlanta will do that. I think Atlanta wants to get rid of John Collins. I think Atlanta wants to move into the lottery. We've heard there's been a lot of rumors that Atlanta wants to move into the lottery. They're one pick outside of the lottery. Dallas wants to move out. Atlanta wants to move in. Makes sense. But honestly, in my opinion, I really don't know if I see Atlanta doing that trade because I feel like they're not getting enough player talent back for John Collins. They're really only what they're getting back for John Collins is moving up 5 spots in the draft and Davis Bertans, who is a solid player, a really good shooter, but has a horrible contract as well. His contract's at like 16 something million. I mean, his contract is horrible. He's, he played, he when he gets minutes, he gets fair minutes, and he's getting minutes. And honestly, I honestly think he would be really good on the Hawks. I think if you look how good Danilo Gallinari did and how good movement shooters are on the Hawks, I think Davis Bertans would be really good for the Hawks off the bench. That would be a really good acquisition for the Atlanta Hawks, adding in Davis Bertans. But I just don't know if the Hawks do that. So that's why I've altered this trade a little bit. It's the same trade, but there are 2 new assets coming in. So here's the trade I think that would get it done to send John Collins and the 15th overall pick to Dallas and the 10th overall pick and other assets to Atlanta. So Dallas would receive John Collins and the 15th overall pick that belongs to Atlanta alongside with the 15th overall pick. They'd also receive a future second-round pick for 2024. And then here is what the Atlanta Hawks would receive. The Atlanta Hawks would receive Davis Bertans, Reggie Bullock, and the 10th overall pick. I know it's not a huge difference, but you're adding in Reggie Bullock, who averaged this season with Dallas averaged, I'm trying to find his stats, man. Here it is, 7.2 points per game in Dallas this year with 3.6 rebounds per game. Year before in Dallas averaged 8.6 points per game in 21-22. Then in the 2021 season averaged 10.9 points per game with the Knicks and 8.1 points per game in 19-20 with the Knicks. And has been a really solid scorer, really, really good defensive player as well. And I think he'd be good for the Knicks. For the Knicks. I was thinking about the Knicks because he played for the Knicks in 2019 and 2020. But he'd be really solid for the Hawks' backup rotation. But yeah, so Bullock, really solid player, solid 3-point shooter, and a really solid defender. Bullock would go to the Hawks along with Davis Bertans, who, yes, he's struggled in the last couple seasons. This season played full year with Dallas. Last year in the 21-22 season, split the season between the Washington Wizards and the Dallas Mavericks. He was a part of the Kristaps Porzingis trade. Him and Spencer Dinwiddie were sent over from Washington for Kristaps Porzingis. But Dallas this year, he only averaged 4.6 points per game, but only played 10 minutes per game and was not being used in the right way, in my opinion. And same thing for at the end of the season in Dallas. At the end of the season in Dallas last year, he averaged 5.3 points per game, and in Washington in 21-22 averaged 5.7 points per game. But that is duly just because of not playing minutes. that is why his his stats are down because of not playing minutes. I'm gonna go over his minutes. Like Dallas in Dallas this season only played 10.9 minutes per game. Then in Dallas in 21-22 season, 14 minutes per game. Washington before he got traded to Dallas, 14 minutes per game. But then if you look back to the 2019 and 20 season and then the 20 and 21 season where his stats are way better, you can definitely notice that his stats are way better. The 2021 season, when he's playing more minutes, I think he played around 25 minutes per game that season, averaged 11.5 points per game. And then with Washington in 2019-20 season, averaged 15.4 points per game. And keep in mind, he's an excellent three-point shooter. This season with Dallas shot 39%, but he's usually been around that 38 to 44% three-point shooting, maybe a little bit less, like 30. He's always been around 35, 42% three-point shooting. He's an excellent three-point shooter. At least I think if you look at, his side, he's basically a big man. He's a small forward / power forward. He's one of the best 3-point shooting, power forwards in this league. And, I think in Atlanta, I think he'd be way better. They're really good with movement shooters. I mean, just look how good Gallinari was in Atlanta. And that is what Bertans is. He's a movement shooter. I think Bertans would be really nice in Atlanta. I don't really know about Bullock, but Bullock is a really solid player. That's what I can tell you. Averaging 7.2 points per game this season. But let's go over John Collins' stats this season. John Collins with the Hawks this season averaged 13.1 points per game with 6.5 rebounds per game. But then the 21-22 season averaged 16.2 points per game with 7.8 rebounds per game. 2021, 17.6 rebounds per game. 2019-20 season averaged 21.6 points per game. So his stats kind of go down by the year. But, I think that John Collins would be really solid in Dallas with Luka Doncic and possibly Kyrie if he resigns. They still would have other trade assets if this trade happens. JaVale McGee is another guy they might trade, along with Josh Green would still be a guy they might trade as well. If this trade were to happen. Also, I wouldn't be too sure if this trade happens. I wouldn't be too sure if Dallas keeps that pick 15. Who knows? So this trade can definitely happen. I don't know. We'll see how badly Atlanta wants to get rid of John Collins. But you guys are my thoughts on the trade idea. That's it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, and peace out.